Hey, I'm Elizabeth from Happy, Healthy, and Hot, and I wanted to share with you today about dealing with toxic people because we all have these people in our lives. It could be a coworker, family member, um, you know, distant family member, relative. Maybe it's even someone in your friend group. I hope that's not the case, but you need some better friends. But anyway, I want to share some things that have helped me in these situations. And we're going to talk about two things. I want to share how to deal with the feelings that you have when you're with that person, and I'll give you 3 tips. And then also how to handle being around that person. 3 tips there that can help you kind of prepare. So let's start with the feelings. I know there's somebody in my life that I need to face and deal with, and whenever I'm around that person, it triggers a lot of just yucky feelings in me. Drags down my energy. I mean, the best word, I just feel icky. So I think it's so important to acknowledge those feelings. Life is not always rainbows and butterflies and unicorns and, bikinis. I wish it were, and a lot of my life is, but some days aren't. So I think it's really important to acknowledge those feelings, to actually allow yourself to feel them, to not try to distract yourself with, oh, go do something fun. Like you actually have to feel those feelings for a little bit. I think that's important. So that's the first step. Second step is to get clear on what those feelings are. Like to me, I feel icky. Okay, what is that exactly? For me personally, feelings that I've acknowledged are guilt, resentment, and fear, which are all fear-based emotions. But so really get clear on what exactly are you feeling when you're around this person. Like, can you get to the root and really identify those feelings? And then the third step, once you've gotten clear and identified those feelings, is to, I think it's great to journal. You can kind of do this in your head, but I think there's something really powerful about writing this stuff out and rewrite that story. Remind yourself why those feelings that you're feeling, like I'm going to give an example. This is not my example. My parents are amazing, but say every time you see your mother, you're just miserable. So you just feel awful afterwards. So, first acknowledge that you feel that. It's okay to feel that. Then kind of get at the root of it. What are those feelings? Maybe she makes you feel guilt. Maybe you feel she's criticizing I'm just, again, pulling stuff out of it, thin air. Maybe she's criticizing your parenting skills and you feel guilty. You feel that you're a bad parent. Well, then you could take the time in journaling to acknowledge this. When I'm around my mom, I feel guilty because she criticizes my parenting skills and calls me bad, and then I feel guilty that I'm a bad parent. And then write out all the reasons that you know that you're not. And this can this can be helpful in a lot of situations, but you really have to feel the feelings and identify them before you can start rewriting them. And another step that I would add to this journaling process, this can be very healing, is if this person continually triggers you, and this is an ongoing thing, to write a letter to them, not send it. This is for you, where you're saying all the things that you're too big of a person to actually say to them. And it allows you to kind of get that out. And I think that can be very helpful. And in writing that letter, you may identify a few things that you do need to really address with them. And that can be very healthy. But write out all the mean stuff you want to say, but you're not, it's better not to. And then that may help you get clear on actually coming face to face with that person. So those are the steps, 3 steps I would say for actually dealing with the feelings. Again, it's number 1, feel them. Number 2, identify and acknowledge what they are. And then 3, do some journaling to rewrite that story. Okay, but let's talk about when you actually need to face that person that is toxic. And when I say toxic person, it does not mean that they're a bad person. They're just not good for you. So first step is see less of them. And you're saying, oh, of course, that's obvious, but I can't. Well, sometimes you just think that. For example, do you pick up the phone every time they call? You don't have to. Maybe if every time the phone calls, they call you, the phone rings, or the text comes through and you feel a little triggered and anxious, wait to respond. You don't need to respond immediately. Try to always take a step back in your communication. So don't text if you could just send an email. You know, don't call if you could text, and certainly don't see them in person if you could just text or make a phone call. You know, avoid situations where you have to see them. So that's one. When you do, number two is to prepare when you do see them. And something that really helps me as a reminder, and I can't take this credit for this, I got this from my therapist, but is to just think ahead and keep your emotions in check. You already know this person triggers you, and maybe they brings out some bad behaviors in you, and maybe sometimes you get irritated. Sometimes they may be doing that on purpose. They may be trying to set you off a little bit. So keep your emotions in check. Be prepared that this could happen, and just know that you're going to just tell yourself ahead of time, maybe even practice, that you're going to be calm and in control, because them getting you all worked up is, at that point, they just have power over you. And then the third step is to then, after you're with them and you've stayed calm, allow yourself to process. They may have triggered a lot of things, and you feel upset and you feel icky. Again, acknowledge it and let it out. It might be crying, it might be journaling, it might be talking to a friend, but get that shit out and process it. So again, my steps that have helped me in dealing with some toxic people, and I have so many amazing people in my life. And again, just because a person is toxic to you and triggers some things does not mean they're a bad person. But you need to, as far as dealing with the feelings, it's really 3 steps. Feel the feelings, then identify what they are, and then rewrite that story with some journaling and remind yourself why you don't need to feel guilty or fearful or whatever the things are that you're feeling. And then also 3 steps for actually dealing with that person. 1 is try to limit actually dealing with them, see less of them. Number 2 is prepare before you do, and just remind yourself to keep your emotions in check. And then 3, process those feelings as they come up once you're away from that person. Whether it's a good cry, journaling, talking to a trusted friend, or all of the above, just do it and process it. Don't pretend it never happened. So I'm hoping that this is helpful to you. Lots of good resources on this YouTube channel, everything for advice on dealing with toxic people like this to skincare. There's gonna be some workouts posted soon, all kinds of things. So keep checking back. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to reach out to me, if you have questions, comments, you can go to the About page here on YouTube, and it has, I believe, my email address, my website, and also my Amazon store, which has a lot of fun stuff. So as always, thanks for watching.